Well, I think our first role should be shareholders that are looking to get out. I don't want to run auto companies. I don't want to run banks. I've got 2 wars I've got to run already. I've got more than enough to do. So the sooner we can get out of that business, the better off we're going to be.
Welcome back to Hardball. That was President Obama in April of 2009 talking about the government's bailout of General Motors. Now today, the shareholder-in-chief officially started to get out. GM shares went on sale at the New York Stock Exchange in what could be the largest initial public offering in U.S. history. And late today, President Obama reacted to the first day of trading.
Today, one of the toughest tales of the recession took another big step towards becoming a success story. General Motors relaunched itself as a public company, cutting the government's stake in the company by nearly half. What's more, American taxpayers are now positioned to recover more than my administration invested.
Joining us now is Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm. Governor, thank you for being with us. What did it mean to your state?
Well, there's an old expression that says, as goes General Motors, so goes Michigan. Obviously, this is great news for us. I mean, can you imagine, Michael, what would have happened if the administration didn't intervene? In fact, there was a national, an organization yesterday called the Center for Automotive Research that issued a publication that described what would have happened. And in America, we would have lost 1.4 million jobs. What a horrible tragedy that would have been. Instead, the United States did the wise thing, and the taxpayers are going to be paid back, and we have an auto industry that's lean and lighter, and people are working. And for the first time now since the year 2000, we've actually seen hiring in the in the American auto industry. It is it's really terrific.
You make reference to the taxpayers being paid back. Is it your expectation that they'll be paid back in full? And second part of that question, is that a fair barometer by which to evaluate this whole transaction?
Well, that second question is a really good question, but obviously everyone wants the taxpayers to be paid back in full. It won't be done by this first initial public offering, but they expect to have subsequent sales that should be able to get them there, and they certainly did very well in this one. I think it is the largest public offering in United States history, and if you do the green shoe expansion, as they say, it could be the largest global public offering, which is pretty amazing. But the question that you asked about, is it worth it? Essentially, is it worth the taxpayers having stepped in, even if they didn't get fully paid back? And I would say, boy, the consequences of not stepping in are so horrific to the manufacturing sector, to the whole tentacles of U.S. manufacturing, that it certainly is worth them stepping in.
Governor, you heard the president perhaps at the outset of this conversation where he said, look, I'm already dealing with 2 wars. I don't want to be in the banking business, and I don't want to be in the automotive business. And yet the suspicion lurks in some quarters that he does want to be in all of these things. Address that issue from a political standpoint, if you would.
Why would he want to be? That's so crazy. Why would he want to be engaged in running an auto company? What he wanted to be engaged in was saving American jobs, and that's exactly what he did. The great thing, if you talk to, like, Dan Akerson, who is, by all accounts a Republican, he runs the company. They were not engaged in selecting the new head of General Motors. They haven't been engaged in the day-to-day discussions of how to do this. They wanted simply to save a great American company, and most importantly, the jobs that go with it, including the entire manufacturing backbone of the United States. So this is one step. This is not the whole thing, but it certainly is a great step for recovery of the national economy. Chrysler's initial public offering, which will hopefully be next year, we hope to be equally successful. But I can tell you just from my seat in Michigan, where every single month this year now, Michigan has seen our unemployment rates ticking down, because of course we had the largest unemployment rate in the nation due to our concentration in automotive manufacturing. This is really great progress.
I was about to ask, the national unemployment number at about 9.6%. Michigan, you still have your hands full at 13%. What needs to take place in order for you to...
12.8. And actually yesterday came out at 12.8. Not that you can declare victory on that, but it was almost 15, and we are seeing, in fact, fact, the Michigan unemployment numbers, Michael, have actually beat, in terms of the drop of unemployment claims, every single month in 2010 have beat the U.S. unemployment claim drops percentage-wise by almost double. So we feel good. We feel like manufacturing is back on track, but we certainly have a long way to go.
Governor Granholm, many thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Let's go now.
Thank you.
Let's go now to Bob King, the president of the United Auto Workers. Mr. King, I saw where you were quoted as saying it is today a dramatically different company. How so, sir?
Well, in many different ways. One is the level of cooperation and involvement of our membership, the great quality that we're producing, working together with management, the tremendously global best productivity of our plants, the great products that we're providing to the consumers, the level of involvement from our membership. So it's exciting times, and today's IPO is just great for our membership, both active and retired.
Am I correct in saying that your current hold, the UAW's hold, is at about 17.5%? And if so, do you intend to exercise your right to sell any of that soon?
Well, technically it's the VEBA. And under the law, under the court decisions and the court-approved VEBA documents, we actually have an independent fiduciary who makes the final decisions on when stock will be sold or not sold.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about today's effort by the Republicans in the House to block the extension of unemployment benefits. Here's my question. Do you believe that at any point the perpetuation of unemployment benefits become a disincentive for individuals to find work? You know that argument. I'd love to hear your response to it.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. There are 5 or 6 people laid off for every job there is available. People want to be back working. I know when our members are laid off, they're calling us all the time, wanting to get back to work. People want to work. There's so many great Americans who are laid off today through no fault of their own. It's just, to me, morally wrong not to extend unemployment and help them through this really difficult time. And we should be creating public works jobs. We should be putting people to work on building a new infrastructure, a new power grid, new highway system, new sewer systems. There's so much to do in America to make us competitive. I've seen reports that it takes $2 trillion to get our infrastructure competitive. China is spending so much more money to make that country globally competitive than we are. It's time for the Republicans in government to do what we did in Michigan. In Michigan, we took people that used to have really different viewpoints from labor, from management, from government, and we showed that we can all work together for the benefit of America. This is a victory today, not just for UAW members, not just for GM shareholders, but for all of America. We need manufacturing jobs in America to be a strong country, and we need this country to come together and work together to be able to compete in the 21st century. Republicans' unwillingness to spend on our infrastructure is wrong.